Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I'd show you an update on this experimental Kriel creation project, and just showing you some past stuff here. This was what it started out being, a weird blocky wire frame, trying to come up with an idea. I wasn't really on board with it very much on what I did there, but I thought I would work it anyway. So then I ended up with this version, which I showed in the last video. And then it had some shortcomings, some things that I didn't really like about it, and I wanted to modify it. One of the, excuse me, I had a block out. So up here I had this kind of Chimera style thing, and what I say by Chimera is that ship I showed last time, early creation I built, that was the SV. But this shape is really not accommodating for what I wanted to put here, and that was turrets and not thrusters or launchers. And this would have been better off to pop in a thruster here and maybe some launchers up here or something like that. And that's not what I wanted, because that's at the front of the ship, and that's not where I wanted those parts to be placed. So, and also I had a problem with its roll and its width. I had this thruster set up back over here, or these pods that I didn't quite attach to the creation. Didn't really, I don't mind them. They weren't detailed very much at this point, but yeah, I thought I would just go off the rails here and do something different for all these areas. So anyway, let's move on to the newer version, which has a lot more blocks on it now. So I totally redesigned the front end pieces here, and now this is the new design, and I like it a whole lot better than what was there before. It's a very strange design. As you can see, it's doing some weird angles on the outsides here, and it's kind of like curving in, which is something I haven't really done quite like that before. And it holds a lot of turrets, and that was a big thing I wanted it to do, is hold a lot of turrets in the front area, and it can hold a lot of turrets there now. So fairly happy with that, and I did pop in some strafing thrusters over here. It does make it kind of widish on the front right there, which I don't know if I'm super on board with, but overall I'm all right with it, I guess. So it's not really bugging me too much. I did also pop in some reverse thrusters here. They could move yet, and I'm still kind of working things here and there on the body. But the front leg, arm, whatever these things are designed, yeah, it's kind of like freaky, like I wanted it to be. It's Kriel again, you know. It's trying to look alien, and very different from that of like the other factions that I make things for, like the humans or the Imperial or the Scar or any of that stuff, MCRN. So on the rear, I really went kind of nutty over here too, and I'm not sure if I like the results or not. It's a very peculiar looking thruster assembly slash weapons platform slash landing gear thing. I don't know how else. What do you call this? I mean, and it's trying to make it look like it moves a little bit. So there's like a mount point here that would be like a swivel mount, and that attaches to this part here, which is a kind of a peculiar shaped piece. And this part attaches down over here to this lower section. And what I was trying to make it look like it could do, for no particular reason really, is to make it look like it could like leap, sort of like this part could swing down, and then this part could swing down, and it could like push down on the ground in the front area and kind of lunge itself forward. So that's kind of the weird, peculiar idea I had with that. Again, I'm not entirely sure if I like what I got going on there. It's certainly different. I don't know if it's kind of growing on me. At first, I was like, ooh, I don't know about this. And now I'm kind of looking at it again, and I'm like, ah, God, that's really unique, isn't it? It kind of is fitting for the strange design of this creation. So the back part I do not have done yet. There's obviously a whole lot of missing blocks going on back here. And I've got a couple shortcomings on this design as well. Two shortcomings right now is I still do not have a first person bridge in the creation. And I did kind of want to, it's obviously it's going to have a secure bridge in it, being a combat vessel that would be, further back into the hull and buried. But I also kind of wanted it to have a first-person bridge somewhere. And the most likely place I would want to put that is actually probably down in this area here somewhere, which could be a vulnerability as well, because if I had that means I can't lay the inner xenoblock lining in there as well, because it would be like a first-person bridge here. Now I could also put it up top here more, but I thought the idea of you sitting kind of with an overhanging bridge, where if you were inside the ship, you could kind of see downward and be looking around. You might not be able to see super far to your right or left, but you could see down and up and around the area. So I don't know. I'll have to fiddle with it and see what comes to be, see if I like it or don't like it, that kind of thing. I also worked on more of the bottom lower area on the sides here. I got a kind of a weird, almost I don't know, a weird scaly looking design here. Put in some old school Kriel deco pieces that I've used on quite a lot of other Kriel creations and stuff like that. But I think maybe I'm repeating this formation a little bit too much. Maybe I should just run 3 or 4 and then switch it up into something else back over in the other area. In the back of the ship, again, not really done. One other idea I had back here was to potentially add in some kind of shaped weird landing pads on the bottom, like coming out from like around this height, like on either side, that would probably be at some kind of weird angle or something like that, where you could park a couple medium to smallest size HVs or SVs on the back of it, and have access to the interior. Now this would be left open air and it wouldn't be enclosed inside of a hangar. It's not going to have a hangar on the ship. So another shortcoming I have is I really wanted to get a whole lot more turrets on the back side of this creation. Right now it does not have near what I wanted to have. So it's only got like 4 turrets somewhere that can fire forward for the back, and the shape is kind of making it hard to place more of them right now, and that's a bit of a problem. Obviously I'm trying to get some launcher positions in here towards the back side, and those are kind of working out, but yeah, just more general turrets for your higher end turrets I think would be very helpful on the back side. It's just I'm not sure where to put them with the current shape. I would have to build out maybe another some other thing out here to hold some more turrets, which I don't think would look very good, is kind of the biggest thing. And I haven't really tried to put any turrets on the bottom side of this creation yet, which I did plan on putting some there as well. So when it lands, it's going to land exactly how you see it here. The landing gear are recessed in the creation to come down to match the block height that comes down, so it doesn't look like it's sitting on some landing gear. Typically, it looks like it's sitting on these leg things, whatever they are. I don't know, but as an exoticness, it's kind of fitting the bill for Kriel exoticness. I think it looks Kriel to me. It's a different shape and format as of the other Kriels. In some areas. In some areas, it's repeating, like this abdomen thing was a kind of a common thing on several other Kriel creations that I made. I was always trying to keep them look a little insect-like, and this is trying to look like some weird deranged alien insect. In fact, one of the names I was thinking about for this was mantis, just like a praying mantis kind of thing going on over here, and the weird hoppy legs in the back. And yeah, I brought up like pictures of like a praying mantis or something like that, a grasshopper, and Yeah, I sort of got inspired a little bit on this design from that, but this is quite a bit different than that. And the design of that really wouldn't work because I got to hold all these big parts in here and stuff like that, and it just does it wouldn't work out if I try to follow that design more closely. So it was just a weird, deranged hybrid thing. Um, Again, trying to look alien. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now with it. I got a lot of figuring out to do on these extra features, more turrets on the back, first person bridge, and potential kind of hidden duct underneath there, like a couple not very big landing pads back there, just to park some stuff. I think that would just be a nice utility feature to have on a ship like this. If you go out and you're blowing up some enemy CVs and stuff, this doesn't have any salvaging capabilities. I guess you could, with any ship, you could throw on a multi-turret and call it a day. But maybe you'd want to do it with a salvaging SV, or maybe I don't know, just bring some utilities that whatever you're trying to accomplish in game, that you could not be just limited to just bringing this around and then having to fly back and grab something else to salvage or loot or whatever you're gonna do. People do different things, and it's yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to show you where I'm at with it right now. Get your opinions on it. I'm on board with it more than I was previously, for sure. But it's still I'm kind of at the thing where I think it needs some more work and maybe some more modifications, and I'm really quite perplexed on what I'm going to do about getting more turrets on the back side of this right now with the current hull design. And one other thing I was thinking about too is more launcher positions. Now, right now it's got the 8 artillery back there, which can all fire forward, and I like their general location, being further back in the ship like that. But it's lacking any like laser cannon positions. And I'm kind of just running out of places to put things in the back of the ship, obviously. Now, I could pretty easily add in some laser cannon positions, like somewhere, like embed them into the hull pieces over here or something like that, and maybe I'll end up doing that. I did want them further back on the creation than that, but again, I just don't have the room back there based on the design. I could try to build out some kind of wing thing back here, but I think it'll look silly if I did at this point. Like some flat structure back here, kind of portrayed a little bit on the original block framework design, having some kind of wing where you can lay a bunch of turrets across that wing area. Although I cut that whole wing area from the newer builds because I don't know, to me it was trying to look like it was an IndyCar or something, or some weird thing like that, and it wasn't really what I wanted it to look like with that. But function wise, that works out pretty well actually. But I just got to figure it out. I got to tool around with this more and see if I can come up with something that can work for the what I'd like it to have and fit in with the cosmetics of it as well. So that's a bit of a challenge there. I do like these more challenging creations, though. I mean, obviously, it's not so bad building like starter CVs and stuff like that. And someday I will probably do that again, build some new starter CV yet again. But yeah, these more exotic creations are just a lot more fun to build as a builder. They're yeah, and this one's wacky. I can't say. Maybe there is out there in the sci-fi worlds, but I don't know if I've seen anything quite like this before for a spaceship, at least, or really anything. So I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe there is some similarities to some genre or sci-fi franchise or something that I'm unfamiliar with at this point. But anyway, that's where I'm at. Just wanted to get your opinion, see what you think of what I got going on so far. Do you agree with the idea of having some landing pads back here? Do you think that would add in some more functionality for even combat missions? And that's pretty much what you'd really be wanting to do with this thing, is combat missions. It's what it's going to be made for. As in other planned parts and things on the interior too. I do plan on having this, filling up the interior first with a backing Xeno block wall back here. And why I'm using Xeno is I noticed in comments it was brought up that, you know, you use combat steel. Well, here's the thing with Xenoblocks. They're technically better than combat steel. They have slightly more hit points than combat steel, but very, very close. But the real advantage is they're about the same weight as hardened steel, so they're lighter than combat steel, and the lightness factor is what I'm most concerned about. Otherwise, I wouldn't use these Xenoblocks, which are extraordinarily awful to texture in most cases. Anyway, so my plan is to like build in a reinforcing wall around this area here. I wanted this to be able to hold a full barrage of small and medium shield parts, so 8 each, plus maybe a couple large shield parts and a fusion reactor, plus a couple more locations for advanced generators in it, as well as it needs to hold the main shield and a warp drive. As well. So there's a lot of parts that are going to have to go in the insides. The insides are not super big, so it's going to have limited interior space on it. It's going to have no farm. It's going to have probably some form of production area, but very limited. I don't plan on having this thing have a whole lot of storage on it either. Probably a couple 320K cargo bay, or I'm sorry, ammo bays, and I don't know, maybe another couple 320s for general storage. I could probably handle that. A couple other different things I was trying to do with this, even with its lift thrusters. Here, let me find where I put the cockpit at this point. Let me get that block out of your face. Get this up in the air a little bit here. So on the bottom side here, if you take a look at how the lift thrust is set up, there's a lift thruster here, and then a XL one back over here. So it's kind of like doing this triangle pattern with lift thrusts. I thought that was kind of fun too, because it's you know, a little more peculiar than your matched thrust all over the place. And the same thing goes with forward thrust on here. It's using 1XL in the middle. And then it's using these regular large thrusters out on, or whatever, those are large, out on the outer edges here. With its specs, which is kind of wildly changed from where it's at right now, especially after it gets a whole lot more weight added to it. Currently it moves really good, but the roll isn't wonderful. Still, it's narrower than the previous version, and the roll did increase from 38 to 44. But keep in mind, it actually went up a lot more than that by tucking in these. If you can see on the past model, I had these way out, sticking out of the hull, and this has been brought in more, which helped with the roll. But then again, this version here, it's not quite apples to apples. This one has a lot more blocks on it than that one does. So it's just heavier. But if you notice, the pitch, yaw, and roll are closer together than what they were before. So it's not like a huge wide margin between these three stats, which I kind of like that. And what I mean by that is, like, this previous model had a big discrepancy between these stats. Like the roll was 38, but your yaw and pitch at this point was 104 and 85. So there's a kind of a big imbalance on between these three stats. And the newer one, they're closer together. They're obviously not like perfect. Like all the numbers are a little different, but they are closer together. And also considering that it's got a lot more weight on this version than what it did on this one. Primarily because it has more turrets on it, more launchers on it, more blocks. The blocks are generally pretty lightweight because it's so far all carbon substrate, besides some, like there's some Xeno in between the thrusters and some various areas of Xeno in here. And I'll be adding a lot more Xeno into it, but it's going to be a case-by-case basis on where I think it's going to be the most vulnerable or need the hull reinforcements on. But other than that, I'm trying to keep this pretty agile and maneuverable for the combat situation. And Again, probably mostly be dependent on shields, but I did want it to be able to take, a few hits after your shields go down on the front without disrupting much, besides maybe blowing up some of the cheaper front turrets on here. And I'm not going to be running probably any miniguns or cannon turrets on this creation when it's done. I'll have to remove a lot of these turrets anyway to balance out the CPU. But yeah, my idea was more along the lines of a lot of positrons on the front. And now also one other thing that it's lacking right now is laser cannons. And for that, I'm thinking about possible ideas on where to put those. One would be to embed some in the hull over here on these locations. Maybe only add like 4 laser cannons on the design. So you got a couple on either side there. That's one idea. I could try to mount something back along here somehow, but I'll have to redesign how this is shaped a bit to pull that off. But I'm going to have to do some redesigning anyway because I want to get more turrets on the backside. So I don't know. I'll keep fiddling around with it and see where it comes out. I'm just curious on your thoughts. I mean, what do you think right now? Do you like it? Do you think some of the stuff is a little too funky, like there's these rear leg things, whatever those are? I'm a bit of a mixed bag on that right now myself. It's like it's kind of growing on me, but at the same time I'm not 100% sure I like it. But for the exoticness, I think it's pretty exotic, which I kind of wanted it to look that way. But I am on board more with the front legs than I am the rear legs for sure. I like this formation. I liked the look that added to the creation versus the just the straight up kind of roundy pieces that I had going on here previously. So it looks far more exotic this way, I would say, and it's supposed to look exotic. So that's it's Kriel. It's they're alien. It's everything. All their creations are supposed to look alien to that of the other races or factions or whatever that at least that I do, like the humans or the Scar or the Imperial or the MCRN. It's these would drastically look different than any of those creations, and that's kind of the primary goal. And of course, I'm trying to fit in some older Kriel elements to it, as in like the abdomen kind of thing, and some squirrely, really peculiar block work in places on the ship, like going along these angles over here and stuff like that. Just kind of like cut in, like it's trying to form a shell or look a little bit more organic in one way or another. So that's anyway. I'll shut up. I could ramble on forever, but that is where I'm at with the creation right now. Just curious on your thoughts. If you got any other ideas for it or anything like that, let me know. I definitely I consider a lot of them, and I do act on a lot of them too. It all depends. I mean, there's some inner workings on these things that are yeah, it's like I can't really show very well in a video, but yeah, stuff like that. So anyway, I'll shut up. You all have yourself a great day, and I will talk to you later.